All right, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Daily Racing Form YouTube. I am Gino Buccola alongside Scott Shapiro, producer Bobby helping us out as we head over to Churchill Downs for a big day on Saturday. Scott, you spent a lot of time over at Churchill Downs, but the last couple of years they've had the Claiming Crown move over there and just getting an incredible response. I think this year there were 121 horses coming from 30 tracks and training centers, 14 different states. And there are 3 races where there is a full field of 14 horses in the Claiming Crown race. And we're going to talk about one of them, race number 10, the Claiming Crown Jewel.
Yeah, these are tough races to decipher. We're going to try to help you out, but there's no doubt they draw a big crowd when you offer up $200,000 for the Claiming Crown Jewel. For instance, to horses of this nature, you're going to get a lot of attraction. I was there for one Claiming Crown, and it was a slop fest. So I didn't look at the weather, but it has to be better weather than what we saw when I was there.
Let's meet the field for the Claiming Crown Jewel via the pace projector, because in a huge field like this, you're always expecting there to be a competitive pace. There's going to be a few horses showing some speed, and this doesn't surprise me at all, Scott. You've got Burnin' Hot, who's really quick. Point Doom to the outside also wants to go. Then down towards the inside, you've got Gilded Kraken. I think those are the quickest of the 3 that will probably try to jockey for position early. And I think it'll be pretty honest with those 3 in here.
I agree. And I think what kind of ensures it, assuming the one breaks, Gilded Kraken, is when there's a speed horse on the far outside and one on the inside.
Yep.
I think that's a lot better. You're a lot better when you're hoping for, and then there's a third because, you hope that their horse on the rail breaks. And when they both converge, they're likely to very much go out of here. So I am very much going to play this race for as fast as the projector wants me to play it.
Okay, we'll try to get through this field as quick as we can. Otherwise, Scott and I will be here for a couple hours talking about this Claiming Crown Jewel. We start with Gilded Kraken, who's quick, coming out of some of the better races. If you're just looking at the tough levels that this horse has been facing recently, Keeneland non-winners of 2, Kentucky Downs, Saratoga first level allowance races. The class level, really tough. My concern is that this guy's one-dimensional, Scott. He doesn't really want to come from off the pace. And as we showed in the projector, it's a big field, and there's a couple other speeds drawn to the outside.
Yeah, I'm going to play against the speeds in here. My memory of this horse is his second performance, May 14th of 2023. One of the bigger steam horses, you'll remember. He was bet down to 7-2. He was so bad that day. It was one of the weirder races I've ever.
You'll never forget it, right? It's always going to be in your head.
He's had a good career. I wish well, he wasn't for sale that day, but I think he's up against it from a pace projection perspective.
I thought the 2 Cadet Corps is one of the horses who has a big shot in here, Scott, because this horse is really consistent. Look at the last 7 races since this horse got claimed for 35, 3 wins, a second, 3 thirds, including a grade 3 placing. You just know what you're going to get from him. He always shows up with a nice late run. And the races that he loses, he's losing when Point Doom is able to get the lead that day and nobody's pushing Point Doom, right? So everything about his recent form just makes sense to me.
Yeah, he's got coming out of more compact fields, still winning races. A lot of those times those races are not going to be chock full of speed. The projector had Corolla Rapido as well with the late pace Chicklet. But a tougher post, Cadet Corps, I think, with the post, is going to be the one that's going to have the strongest late run. He's shown a tremendous turn of foot at 1 1/8 a couple of times, and he's 15 wins for 41 starts. I like all of that about him.
Happy Strike comes into this race off of 4 straight wins over at Prairie Meadows. That's what makes these races so tough, right? A sharp horse from Prairie Meadows, where do they stack up with a horse from New York? Or with a horse from Churchill Downs or Keeneland who've been running? You get these horses coming from all these different circuits, and they converge here in a race like this. But Happy Strike did just beat a horse named Empire Builder, who had won 2 in a row, Scott, by 16 and by 6+ lengths, and it actually earned a 95 buyer. I just feel like I got to see one from Happy Strike on this circuit against this bigger, tougher field.
Yeah, even at Oaklawn, where he was taking on lesser than this field, he was up against it. You see how much money he took without the form coming in. It just tells you that he was facing a lot lesser than he does today.
We have a replay of our next guy, I believe, Overstatement, who comes off of a pretty good effort last time out at Keeneland. This was a win against non-winners of 3. He does have a win also at Churchill Downs. So I like this victory, Scott. I think visually it was solid, but he's stepping up here. He's facing a tougher group now, and he's going to be facing a bigger field now. How do you think Overstatement fits with this group off of that win?
Well, the positive is he should be have the right running style coming from off the pace. He continues to finish stronger and stronger in his races. I have questions about the class level though, and I have questions about the extra distance, the mile and an eighth. He has to prove both of those, but he's going to be a big price.
We move to alternate reality, who adds the blinkers. He's 0 for his last 6. When you look at some of the common rivals in this race, he's been behind Walaka, Navajo Warrior, Double Your Money. And he's also only been a mile and an eighth a few times and not for a whole lot of success. So I have some concerns there about the distance and maybe about the overall level of competition. How do you figure alternate reality in here?
Good to see Brian Hernandez Jr. back in the saddle. He'll be back for racing starting on Wednesday when we're recording this. And the blinkers going on this horse, 0 for 5 at the distance, up against it. Joe Sharp's barn had a great year, has not been as hot lately. Really don't have very much interest.
Deep closer Walaka has a couple wins at Churchill Downs, came from last, most recently on September the 28th, and was able to wear down alternate reality in the final stages. Do you give a look to this guy?
Again, the right running style, but I question the class level. Comes out of the one-turn race. Did have a positive flow that day. Made a wide move. Wouldn't be surprised if he makes a move in here. I just wonder about the mile and an eighth and the quality of competition.
Double Your Money has speed, can also pass horses. I believe we have a replay of him winning his most recent start at Belmont and Aqueduct on October the 18th. 12 straight top 3 finishes for him. But the counter would be the bulk of that has been at Parks. He's done a lot of his work over there. He did show in this race that he can step up and win at Aqueduct and face a little bit better horses on the New York circuit. I kind of went back and forth with him, Scott. I respect what he's done, but I do think this is going to be tougher than what he's faced recently. What do you think about Double Your Money?
Yeah, the Park races don't necessarily stack up to here. His wins have been when he's supposed to. He's lost some races that he's supposed to. He's got 8 seconds in 25 starts. At 6 to 1, that seems a little short, but this barn, I think, is 4 for 5 on the year. I guess that this is their only horse. So when you have a horse that's kind of the focal point and he's doing this successful.
This is a good point.
Clearly, he's pointed to this race. You know, they're very much thinking about every move he makes. That's a positive.
We move to Legree, who is the next one. This horse is a big price, Scott, but I'm going to try to build a case for him here. If you put a line through the turf race most recently last time out, and you go back and look at the 2 races before that, you see him 4th against a non-winners of 2 group at Saratoga, and then you see him crushing a group of 30 non-winners of 3. And that was actually the only time that this horse had been in for a tag. Throughout the rest of his career, he had been protected. They stepped him up off the claim. And in that Saratoga non-winners of 2 race, it's actually a pretty good field. He was behind a horse named Capital Idea, who was in there. He was 3rd next out against optional hundreds at Keeneland with a 93 buyer. Horse named Echo again, who was in there, had thrown up back-to-back 98 buyer speed figures. Dilger, who was 3rd, is multiple graded stakes placed. I thought that was a fine effort from Legree. When you look through the bulk of his career earlier, they'd always had him in tougher spots. Like they like this horse a little bit. They think there's something there. And if you look at his recent form, he's kind of tailed off. They took a shot on the grass. He was in against softer. I think he's going to sit back and make one late run in here. I think he'll get a setup, Scott. He is a massive price. And you know what? Concepcion's been riding very, very well at the early start of the meet. Like this is a guy who can get into the winner's circle there. So I take a big swing on Legree at 30 to 1. Any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and knock a 30 to 1 too much at all. And Axel is the kind of rider that will take back. He's on the first on. I just thought that this was a horse that's best races have been up closer to soft paces. So he's going to have to prove it. But at 30 to 1, we can just move on because, I mean, that's just a huge price.
Carolo Rapido was 4th at Ellis Park last time out, Scott. And this horse was well behind Burning Hot 2 starts back, though. Could get some pace to run at in here. Distance, not really a concern. I just don't know if his best is as good as some of the others.
That's probably true, but he's going to be one of the ones that is going to sit back and make a run also, and hopefully the right race shape. They reclaim this horse, Eddie Keneally, and I know HRH Racing from my time. They have 1 horse at a time usually pretty savvy with what they get. And it looks like they reclaimed this horse and then gave him time to set him up for this race. So he's run well at Churchill. So I think 30 to 1's too big.
Burning Hot is sharp. He's won 4 of his last 6. He loves Churchill Downs. He just beat optional 80 non-winners of 2. He can get a mile and an eighth. Lots of positives, but he's pretty one-dimensional. in a race where there's a big field and it looks like a couple other speeds. So I respect all of his recent work and I respect him at this class level, but I just don't know if the race shapes up for him to win this thing on the front end, Scott.
This is just the kind of horse that you know is good in great form and can beat you, but I think you just have to try to beat. He's going to have things much differently than those races. Last 4 races, he's won 3 and finished second and 1. 6-horse field, 7 and 7, where he's had things on he's made the lead in every one of them. He should make the leader be involved in here, but I just think he's going to have to work too hard here going a mile and an eighth. I think he's worth taking a chance against at his price.
Dance Samo doesn't mind settling for minor awards, came running to win at Indy last time out against Softer, but was third behind Walaka and Alternate Reality a couple starts back. Can you build a case for him here?
Maybe underneath. Didn't put him in my top 4, but he's hit the board a lot. He's hit the board in half his starts at Churchill. Tough post, but he can finish, and if things go right from him, meaning he's able to avoid a wide voyage under Francisco Arrieta, which will be a task. I think he's capable of getting a slice.
Navajo Warrior looks like one of the top contenders in here. He actually began his career in the Bob Baffert barn in SoCal, and he took a while to get things figured out, but he got really sharp at Santa Anita in early 2025 for Tim Yakteen. Now he's in the Safi Joseph Jr. barn. He's won both starts for Safi. He's actually won 5 in a row overall, and he angled out. He made this big 5-wide move at the top of the lane, most recently at Churchill. He's pretty versatile. He should get a nice setup in here. Just lots to like about him, but he's probably going to be the shortest price or one of the shorter prices in here in a pretty big field. So this is the type of horse, Scott, that I generally pick second and third.
Exactly. I think he's very likely to run on late. Tough post again. You got IRAD, so he gives you more confidence. Mile and an eighth, little bit of a question. And he's been fresh. It looks like another horse that was freshened up for this race, but man, he had a really tough time at first in his career. It looks like some soundness issues. Just don't know if he's the kind of horse I want to key my wagers around in this spot. But
at a short price, right?
Yeah.
That's the key. Point Doom is another speed horse. He got a win at Parks last time out, and he's won 2 in a row. Again, though, I'm just looking at him with Burning Hot in here with Gilded Kraken down to the inside. Is this horse so much faster than those where he's going to be able to clear, or is he going to be able to win the battle of those or sit off the speed a little bit? I just don't know. I think he's up against it here. Also, a mile and an eighth, probably pushing it for him. He doesn't really have a whole lot of experience going a little bit farther like this. So yeah, I really do respect the back-to-back victories. I thought it was a nice effort from him last time out, but I don't know if this thing shapes up for him going a little bit farther.
He's going to have to really be hustled out of the gate like he was back in that Delaware race. He was hustled out of his inside draw that day. He's going to have his work cut out for him. I'm just going to tip my cap to him. He likes to win races. He's in good form, kind of similar to the way I felt about Burning Hot, except even further outside. I just don't see it being easy for him.
And we round out the field with American Law. His best races were from 2023 to mid-2024, Scott. He hasn't been in quite that same form recently. I'm not even sure if those races at his absolute best, though, would be good enough to win. This is a tough group and a big field in here, and this guy's drawn way to the outside. What do you think about American Law?
Tough one. I mean, he's going to want to try to stalk. He's going to be away wide, you would think, coming out of there. And this is not a barn that has a lot of horses or has had a lot of success. I've got to look elsewhere despite the big price.
Well, we love the Claiming Crown Day because it's a chance for the horses who run most days at most tracks, those claiming horses, those horses who are there race in, race out. They get the chance to be in the spotlight. They get the chance to run for hundreds and thousands of dollars and big, big purses and stakes money here, Scott. How do you want to round things out in the Claiming Crown Jewel with your selections?
Hope for a collapse. I hope I hope I hear my my man Travis Stone talking of. I forget. There's a couple good ones he has. I won't that he has when they're really going at it. But like the enunciation is the key. But anyhow, I hope we get some chaos. I know you probably do as well. I'm hoping it's Cadet Gore that takes advantage. But man, Corolla Rapido at 30-1. I'm going to try to get him into the number as well. What you're well, dang it.
We both have 30 to 1s in the top two. Scott's got Cadet Core on top, and then he puts the big price in second. I'll take the big price on top with some logical horses in the second and third spot who I think will come running. I really like the 2. That would be a horse I have in all pick 4s and pick 5s. And then the 12, I think, is really solid. Kind of know what you're going to get from them. I'll throw one of the speed horses in the back just in case. I think of the speeds, I preferred Bird and Hot the most. But this was a fun race to handicap, a challenging race to handicap. Hope you all have a bunch of success on Saturday at Churchill Downs for Claiming Crown Day.